Hello all. Hope all are doing great. Till now, we all have understood what is a form in HTML. We have also understood certain limitations of HTML. That is what HTML cannot do. So today, we'll come to a new topic called as CSS in HTML5. Then what is CSS? Why CSS? And where are we exactly going to implement CSS? First of all, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Observe the slide. I've made a small comparison between HTML and CSS. The acronym for HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and for CSS it is Cascading Style Sheet. Here I've mentioned HTML is a formatting language. Now, what is formatting? HTML can make a text bolder, it can italicize a text, it can underline a text, it can give various colors to the text, it can increase or decrease, that is, change the size of a text. So, what is all this? This is nothing but formatting. What Microsoft Word or simple Word can do. HTML basically can format text. It can also work with images, but maximum of the time it is working on the formatting of a document. Okay, document means web document. So I've mentioned it is a formatting language for web pages. Web pages itself are called as web documents. Whereas CSS I've mentioned as a reformatting language. Now what is this reformatting? Reformatting means it will give much better formatting features than what HTML gives. That is, what HTML could not do, our CSS will do. It will not only work on the formatting, it will also work on how should a web page look, how should it feel. Because websites should be presentable, correct? So it is called as a reformatting language. The last point says it is a structural language. We all know the basic structure of HTML, which never changes. You use HTML with any other scripting language, server side or client side. The basic structure of HTML remains intact. So basically HTML is just used to describe the structure of web pages. And CSS completely works on the presentation of those web pages. When HTML is working on the structure of a web page, CSS will work on how it should be presented to the users or to the web users, right? So it is called as a presentational language. Moving ahead, I've mentioned here, if you look at this paragraph, I've mentioned here, CSS handles the look and the feel part of the web page. It is very easy to learn and understand, and it provides powerful control over the presentation part of an HTML document. Moving further, why should we learn CSS? We all know there are certain limitations of HTML. It cannot create appealing, that is, professional web pages or websites. It cannot add different kinds of styles, special effects, animations, transitions to our web pages. And if we need to overcome all these difficulties, we need CSS. That means HTML and CSS together will help us to create consistent, readable. I've added many adjectives. I would say in short, professional websites. If HTML and CSS are combined together, we'll get professional websites. This CSS, that is Cascading Style Sheets. It is a simple design language which is basically designed to make the web pages presentable. Now, what HTML cannot do, CSS will help us to apply styles, animations, transitions. It will work on how should a web document, that is a web page, how should it be displayed on the screen or on a paper or in any other media. Moving further, okay, I've mentioned few points over here that why should one learn CSS? See, CSS, it is a must for anyone, may it be a student or a working professional. If you want to become a great software engineer, especially if you are working with web development domains, you must learn CSS with HTML higher versions. When you wish to create stunning websites. Now, what is this stunning? CSS will completely work on the look and the feel part of the web page. That means it will have a complete control over the text, different types of text, different types of styles of font, spacing between every single alphabet, every single character, which text should come first, which should go last, which should be in between. How can you give background effects to a single text, a complete line, or different paragraph? All this can be done by CSS. So it is called as stunning website. And if you wish to become a web designer, that is if you wish or if you plan to start your career as a professional web designer, then HTML and CSS skill is a must. It will give you a complete control over the web. Okay, because it works on the presentation, it gives you a complete control over the web. And on top of it, if you want to learn higher languages or some other scripting languages, and if you have learned HTML and CSS, then it becomes easy to understand languages or technologies like JavaScript, PHP, etc. Hope this is clear. We have, as I mentioned earlier, different versions of CSS. The first version was released in December 1996. Then this version gave some good features which HTML could not do. Later, new version, that is version 2.0, was released in May 1998, which came up with advanced features, media supports. Then came the version 3.0 in 1999, and as far as I know, the latest version was released in 2014. Okay, so now let us understand what is CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Cascading. What is cascading? Cascading means inheritance. Now, what is this inheritance? It has the same meaning as in biology. Inheritance is a process by which genetic information is passed from a parent to a child. Here also it has the same meaning. Okay, but who is a parent and who is a child? If HTML is a parent, all the other tags are its child. So if we apply some feature to a body tag, maybe all the features or maybe part of it or maybe some properties or some attributes or some values may get applied to the successive tags. Successive means the tags which are placed below it. So if I write body and body close, so between body and body, what all tags I have placed, they will be the child and body will be the parent. When HTML is a parent, all the remaining tags will be its child. So successive means which comes after, and inheritance is it will cascade, it will inherit some properties. So what it will do to the HTML document, it will inherit its properties to HTML web pages to make it look much and much better. The second is style. Now what is style? Style is a collection of properties. And the third is sheets. What is sheet? Sheet is nothing. It is any kind of .css file that is called as a sheet. Okay. We will go step by step, do practically and understand each one of this. Now, let us understand why exactly are we implementing or why are we learning CSS? Okay, so where will we use CSS? Yes, where HTML fails, there CSS will be used. We all know HTML has few drawbacks and these were recovered by the various versions of CSS. Okay, let me take a small example and let us understand how this CSS works. Now here, this is a simple web page. Okay, this is a simple web page where I've written the structure of HTML. Okay, so what I'm going to do to this web page, I'll add, you can observe here, I've not written anything in this web page. Okay, I'll just add, I don't want to give a background color. I want a good background image in this web page. So I'll add the attribute of the body tag called as background. And I'll write equal to. I've written inverted commas. Click here. Save the changes what I've made to a document. Where are my images? File menu. Open. My images are in this PC, in E drive, in 12th IT, a folder called as images. We cannot see any images because the file extension is text documents. I'll make it all files. Now observe there are so many images. I'll take a simple image and right click on it. Click on properties. So these are the properties of the image. Where is this image located? I'll copy the location, Control C. What type of image it is? JPG, .jpg image. Okay, I'll cancel this. Name of the image, flower1. Cancel this box and I'll say Control V. Okay, now this is the path. Path means my image is located in images folder, which is in 12th IT, and 12th IT is in this computer's E drive. Okay, but this is only the path. Which image I want to load, I'll give a backslash here and write the correct name of the image, flower1 dot its extension JPG. I'll save this page and open it in the browser window. So all of you can observe the output. What happened? What did you all observe? I had loaded only one image, but I can see so many images here, correct? See, I'll increase the size of the page. The moment I increase the size, when I keep on increasing the size of the page, the number of images reduce. But if I reduce the size of the page, the number of images will increase, correct? See, I'm reducing the size and the number of images will increase. If I increase, number of images will reduce. I wanted only one image here, but I can see so many images. Okay, next what I'll do, to this notepad, I'll add some text. So I'll copy, I've written some text and kept here. I'll just copy this text and paste it in the notepad. I've only copied some text and I'll say Control X. I've not done any formatting to the text. I've only changed the size of the text to 4 and put it in paragraphs. Okay, so that I get a big sheet. Save and refresh the web browser. Okay, you can observe on top of the image that text is placed. Now let us scroll this web page. Okay, what is happening when I scroll the web page? The moment I scroll the web page, we can observe both the image and the text are moving. If it is not clear, I'll apply something else and show you. Okay. Prominently, I want only one image to act as a background, but I can see so many images. So HTML cannot restrict this, right? So what I'll give some different style to this. Now this is not a part of HTML. This is something which is related to CSS, which we have not learned. Only observe and understand. I'm adding here style is equal to. I don't want the background image to repeat. So I will say background repeat colon, this is a property of the style, colon, I will say no repeat. I don't want it to repeat. So I'll say no repeat, semicolon, control S, and now refresh. What happened? Now can you observe? We have only one image, right? And this text. I wanted only one image to act as a background, and I have only one image now. Correct? Now, whenever we scroll, move this web page, we'll find the complete image and the text both will be moving. I want this image to be fixed on this web page. So what I'll do, I will write here, add another property called as background dash attachment. I'll say fixed. Okay, control S. You can again reload and see. Now you will observe. See, the image is fixed. It is only the text which is moving. Observing. Now observe the output. Okay. The image is fixed now. Only the text is moving. Correct? Again, I'll come back. I don't want the image here. I want it exactly in the center of the web page. So I'll add another property and say background dash position. If it is a text, you can align. But when it comes to images, HTML cannot align images. Okay. The background images cannot be aligned by HTML. Simple images can be aligned. So I'll say background dash position. I want it in the center. Control S. Again, refresh. Observing? Now the image is in the center and it is fixed. It will not move. See, you scroll your web pages. The image remains in the center. Correct? But now observe the text. In this side it is properly aligned and to the right side it is not aligned. So how can I change the alignment? We all know text can be aligned using ALIGN. Right? So here I am writing text align colon justify. Okay, I want it justified. So control S and refresh. If it is a proper paragraph, it will be justified. Where you give a break, it will take a new line. Okay. Now, what all we have done? Did you observe? Here, all this what we did was not a part of HTML. Observe, it was not a part of HTML. Till here, it was HTML and this was something new. Correct? So, this is not HTML. This is what HTML could not do. Then who could do it? This is a type of CSS. That means to create such effective web pages or to do such effective work, we need HTML and CSS to come together. So, we will be learning how to apply CSS to our web pages. At least, what is the need of CSS? I guess this topic should be clear to everyone. Okay, so let us understand what is cascading style sheet in detail. Okay. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the definition says it is a collection of style rules and some of them are, or maybe a part of them are passed on or inherited to the child tags, which we have seen earlier when it is applied to the parent tag. That means if I write body text equal to blue, the text color of the whole web page will change to blue. Right? Here I have mentioned CSS is something like a beauty kit for our websites. All the girls can relate to this. Okay, what is a beauty kit? It is used to make us attractive. Similar. CSS is like a beauty kit. The more and more you apply CSS properties, your web pages become very, very attractive. They become very presentable. I've written here. It is used to add design aesthetics, design principles to websites or to create professional websites. So, CSS means inheriting styles from one section to another section. Right? And these CSS standards were approved by the W3C, that is the World Wide Web Consortium. That means Whatever was not possible by HTML, now CSS made it possible. Okay, let us understand what does the word style mean. Okay, boys, all of you can relate to the word styles. Style, I've mentioned here, is a global attribute which supports collection of properties. Okay, I'll go back here and show you. See, style is a global. Now, what does this word global mean? Global means I can use this style as an attribute inside each and every tag of HTML. Okay, global means it is applicable to every single tag of HTML. That is why the word global. Okay, style is a global attribute. And what does it have? I'll go back. It has properties and values. So these are its properties and values. We'll understand this in detail. Now, what does style mean? Style means distinctive appearance. When you want to distinguish one element from other. I've mentioned some examples here. Okay, taking practically. We all know people wear caps in different ways, right? Why? Some people apply color to their hair. Why? Some wear goggles. Why? And the answer is to look different from others, right? Or distinguish from others, or look unique. We have observed some boys wear rings in their ears, some wear bracelet in their hands. Why? To look unique, to look better, to look attractive. Similarly, in case of websites, to distinguish one element from other, we apply colors, we change their font size, right? We can apply borders, we can do lot of things. So all this together is called as styles. I hope the meaning of the word style is clear. Okay, so let us move forward and understand the basic syntax of CSS, which I had used in this notepad. Okay, so what is the basic syntax? Our CSS, there is some rule we need to follow if we want to apply CSS. And this CSS rule is made up of two parts. It has a selector and it has a declaration block. Now, what is a selector? Selector is nothing but the name of a tag. If I say H1 tag, H1 is a tag. So H1 is the name of the tag. If I say font tag, font is the name of the tag. If I say body tag, body is the name of that tag. So what is a selector? Selector is the name of a tag. And the second part is declaration block. I've explained it here very clearly. A declaration block is made up of property and value. Observe. Declaration block has property, colon, value. Property, colon, value. Right? Now let us take an example. I've written here H2. I've not written the tag H2. You will not find angular brackets here. When you talk about a selector, it is only the name of a tag. Okay, so I've written H2. That means I want to apply formatting features to H2 tag. And H2 tag will be somewhere in my code. So I've selected H2. I have 10 students here. Okay, I want to change the look of one student. So I'll select that student and work on that student. Similarly, I have 100 tags. I have 6 H2 tags, but I want to change the look of H2. One of the H2. So I have selected that H2. So H2 becomes my selector. Then I said color, colon, gold. These things are, all these properties what I have written is new to each one of you. But just try to understand. This is called as property. Color is a property and gold is its value. Again, background color is one of the property. Cyan is its value. Font family is a property. Tahoma is its value. Correct? Like in HTML, we have a tag, and a tag has attribute, and an attribute is followed by, or it has value. Between an attribute and a value, we write equal to sign. So attribute and value are separated by equal to sign. Similarly, in case of CSS, we don't call it as attributes, we call it as properties. Every selector, if you have selected a tag, if you want to format it, you will apply a property to it, right? And a property and a value are separated by colon. And once one declaration block is over, you write a semicolon. That means multiple properties are separated by semicolon. Observe, each declaration block is a property colon value combination. A selector can have many declarations, n number of declarations. Each one ends with a semicolon. The whole set of declarations must be surrounded by what? Curly brackets. I'll show you more clearly. Observe here. One of the selector, H1, I'm applying some properties to it. Okay, so the declaration block is made up of color, colon, blue. This is the first declaration block. Second, font size. I also want H1's font size to be 12 pixels. So again, here property is font size, value is 12 pixels. Observe another example. Curly brackets. Inside the curly bracket I have written, I have not put a selector here. This is just an example to understand. Curly brackets, what I have written? Background color, colon, red. Background color and border radius are declarations. Red and 3 pixels are values. Semicolon. The semicolon is separating the two declarations. And the final semicolon is not necessary. Okay. But it is a good practice. I'll just show you. Okay, before I go ahead, see. In this case, you will find the first declaration block ends with semicolon. There is no need of a space. I have only written a space to make you all understand. Okay. Second declaration block ends with a semicolon. The third I have ended with a semicolon. It is not necessary. But a good programming practice says you should always put a semicolon. I hope the terms selector, property and value should be clear to everyone. You want more examples? You can refer here. Declaration list or a declaration block is a collection of style rules which are separated by semicolon. That rule can be applied to one tag, to a group of tags, or to many documents. That we'll see later. See, in brief, what is a selector? A selector is an HTML tag to which a style will be applied. This could be any tag like H1, table, etc. But it will not have angular brackets. A selector will never have angular brackets. Property. A property in CSS is like an attribute in HTML. As I told, it is like an attribute in HTML. Like in HTML, a tag has attributes. In CSS, a selector will have property. And every property has a value. This is what we understood now. What is value? Values are assigned to properties. Okay. Now, you can put CSS style rule syntax as follows. Syntax is a rule or how you write it. So, I have written here selector, curly bracket open, property, colon, value, semicolon and selector close. Okay. Let us stop here. We will have a video which will be continued further to understand the various types of CSS. I would like all my children to go through this video, try to understand, and if any part is not clear, please put a message or ask doubts. Okay. Good day to everyone. There will be a following video which will talk about the various types of CSS. Let us stop here. Thank you.